We all now face a new enemy against whom there is no real defense: the suicide bomber. Like a virus, suicide bombing has spread out from the Middle East across the world to New York and London. And as the cult has traveled, it has found new, ever more deadly targets: airline passengers and commuters. And found new followers: women and Westerners, all seeking martyrdom and paradise via mass murder. I'm Robert Baer. I used to be a CIA agent. For the last 20 years, I've been trying to figure out the psychology of why anyone could turn themselves into a human bomb. I'm back on the intelligence trail to find out where this new generation of bombers comes from. On the 7th of July, 2005, London was attacked by a new enemy: the homegrown suicide bomber. 56 people died, including the bombers.
All part of the major incident.
We are 100% committed to the cause of Islam. We love death the way you love life.
We are at war and I'm a soldier. Now you too will taste the reality of this situation.
I used to come here in the mid-90s. I'd be traveling out of the Middle East, going back to Washington, and I'd often spend a day walking up and down Edgware Road. And what struck me was the literature, the open literature advocating jihad, advocating violence, advocating martyrdom. It was very clear that London was quickly becoming a center of terrorism. One of those advocating jihad was Omar Bakri Muhammad, a Syrian-born Islamic fundamentalist who openly preached hatred on London streets, even holding incendiary rallies in Trafalgar Square.
We say everything to God and let Tony Blair go to hell. Muslims in Britain will continue to interact until we see the black flag, the flag of Islam, over Downing Street. We believe on it, we work for it, and with Allah will, and with Allah help, we will establish it, inshallah.
When I met my counterparts in the British government, I'd say to them, "Aren't you worried? It is going to come here and hit you." They just shrugged their shoulders. But the signs of jihad, a holy war, were right there in front of their eyes. It was only a matter of time before 7/7 happened. Every secret thing has a trail, a track you can follow back, but only if you can see the signs. The first significant attack by a British homegrown suicide bomber happened not in London, but thousands of miles away in Israel. At 1 a.m. on the 30th of April 2003, a suicide bomber attacked Mike's Place, a bar on the Tel Aviv seafront. 3 people were killed and 60 injured. The bomber was not acting alone. In the darkness outside, a second bomber waited to destroy himself. But for some reason, his device failed to explode, and he ran off into the night. But Mike's Place was no ordinary suicide bombing. In a nearby trash can, police found 2 passports. The bombers were British.
Who's Tony Blair and George Bush? I wish for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala either to guide them or for his wrath to come upon these people. And that will be the best of the days for Muslims when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings his wrath upon these people.
Asif Hanif blew himself up in Mike's Place. But his accomplice, Omar Khan Sharif's bomb failed. And now, he was running for his life. The last person to see Sharif alive was a local Israeli taxi driver, Adam Falik.
A boy stopped me. I stopped, I opened the window, I wanted to speak to him, and he come and sit near me. He opened the wallet with money, and he said, please, 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 take me away quick, take all the money, please. Take me away from here. Suddenly, a van passed me and cried to me, hold him, he's a terrorist. And I didn't know what to do. But meanwhile, the boy also heard it. So he opened the door, and he ran away. And he go to the direction of the sea.
2 weeks later, Sharif's body was found floating in the sea off Tel Aviv. Asif Hanif and Omar Khan Sharif had flown thousands of miles to kill themselves. But their road to death began somewhere far more ordinary, in the streets of their homeland, Britain. Outwardly, Britain's first suicide bombers led very ordinary lives. 21-year-old Asif Hanif grew up in Hounslow, a suburb of London, close to the airport. Hounslow, with its red brick houses, has a large British Asian population, but it is identical to hundreds of other such similar suburbs across the United Kingdom, with their curry houses, food shops, and mosques. Hanif was the second youngest of a family of 5. Overweight, Hanif was teased and bullied at school. Perhaps in reaction, at 14, he grew more religious, adopting Islamic dress and attending study classes at the local mosque. Muhammad Hashimi was a neighbor and former imam in that traditional mainstream mosque. Let's talk about Asif. What was he like? He lived across the street, right?
Yes. He was quite friendly person and very humble young man. So he was hope and dream and future of his parents. And as I know, they sent him to learn Arabic and Islamic studies in Syria.
For young religious Muslims, Arabic is the key to Islam. Most British Asians, whose family origins lie in Pakistan, speak Urdu. Arabic is a foreign language. In British mosques, only the imam can read and understand the Holy Quran. By learning Arabic, Hanif believed he would have a purer vision of Islam. For some extremists, a pure vision of Islam also means jihad, an all-out conflict against a degenerate West already at war with the Ummah, the whole Islamic world, by attacking Muslims in Iraq, Afghanistan, and the Middle East. Hanif's co-bomber, Omar Khan Sharif, was a 27-year-old from Derby. Sharif was middle class. He had even been to public school. At the time of his death, his third child, Asya, was 8 weeks old. Sharif seemingly had everything to live for. But instead, Sharif turned away from this earthly life to become a suicide bomber. Inside, he was angry at something. Sharif's father helped build the Jamia Mosque in Derby, and Sharif often worshipped there. I went to see the local imam, Hafiz Qadri, whose moderate teachings had clashed with some younger members of his congregation. Why would a young man who grew up in Derby become a suicide bomber?
These youngsters are affected by what they see in front of them. When they see oppression in Palestine, they see their Muslim brethren being in desperate need and feel it is their duty as Muslims to help their Muslim brothers. They are then ready to sacrifice themselves believing that by giving up my one life, I will contribute to bring peace to Palestine or Kashmir, and I will be doing a great deed.
Do they believe they'll go to paradise?
Yes, they believe they are carrying out the wishes of God, and that their sacrifice will be accepted by God. They believe this is Islamic.
Do you think there'll be more suicide bomb attacks by British citizens?
Definitely. The threat of another 7/7 will still prevail because these young minds are angry and focused towards the wrong direction and are very difficult to change. We are trying to control them. And when we tell them that the British public should be lived with peacefully and these harmful actions are wrong, in turn they question us, asking, why don't you condemn the injustices in Iraq and against all other Muslims across the world?
Sharif spurned what he saw as the compromises of the older generation. As a student at King's College in London, he joined the radical Islamic group Hizb ut-Tahrir. In his search for an Islamic identity, he finally took the road to Damascus, the Syrian capital. The Arabic of Syria is regarded as purer, classical, closer to the language spoken by the Prophet. In 2000 in Damascus, Sharif met Asif Hanif, who was also studying Arabic at the university. The fat guy and the shyer man from Derby became close. Their classmates say Hanif was easily led, almost naive. Sharif was quieter, more thoughtful, more determined. Damascus is also home to hundreds of thousands of Palestinian refugees and is the external headquarters for the militant Palestinian movement, Hamas. Somewhere in the city, these two seekers of paradise also met the man who would recruit them for death. That recruiter is still unknown, but in their suicide bomber video, both Hanif and Sharif are immersed in the symbols of Hamas. But Hamas has an uneasy relationship with its Syrian hosts. Recruiting foreigners as suicide bombers would be frowned upon as a danger to the regime.
I've done this for the sake of these people. They would like to distribute this amongst the Arabs. Our Muslims are being killed day by day everywhere. What are we doing as Muslims to help them? We've got to be people of action.
I went to see Sami Khater, a key Hamas leader, high on the Israeli assassination list.
Is it a mistake for Hamas to recruit foreigners?
No, Hamas didn't target it.
No, they didn't
British.
target, but they used two martyrs were British subjects, Asif Hanif and Omar Khan Sharif.
No, they have no relationship with Hamas. If you mean Asif, no, he has no relationship with Hamas.
Did Omar Khan Sharif have a relationship with Hamas?
No.
In their wills, they used behind them the Hamas logo.
Well, it's up to them.
Did they steal it?
Maybe, I don't know.
So the video is a lie then?
I spent many years in this city. It's a tricky, dangerous place to operate in. Of course, Sami Khater would deny that Hamas recruited the two British citizens as suicide bombers. But the video, which even has a Hamas logo imprinted on the screen, is compelling evidence. This was a Hamas operation. But why did these two Britons volunteer to become suicide bombers? After studying in Syria in 2001, both men returned to Britain. Hanif took a job as a security guard at Heathrow Airport. Sharif worked in a call center in Derby. Both men had links with Al-Muhajirun, the extremist sect run by Omar Bakri Muhammad. Bakri Muhammad was barred from Britain in 2005 after he was accused of inciting followers to become suicide bombers. I met him in Beirut, where he told me Sharif had asked to be his disciple.
Omar Sharif, a person he used to be very polite, very shy person, and he studied only part-time studies in the school of Sharia in Derby. He was asked me if he can accompany me for 1 year. I said to him, I'm really busy. I can't myself this year, maybe next year. I got many people in the queue.
So neither one of them was members?
None of them was member of Al-Muhajirun. I wish if there was, because I'll be proud of them. It's not something for me to say, oh, they did something shame, let me myself, condemn them or disassociate myself from them, or they did something illegal. I don't care about legal or illegal, my views.
Why are you proud of them?
You see, I'm a Muslim. I'm proud from any Muslims who fight for his belief, who fight for his own homeland, who fight against occupiers and occupation.
Where is Asif Hanif now?
Asif Hanif, we think that he is a martyr, and may God accept him as a martyr.
What do you think about the July 7 bombers? Do you condemn their action?
No, I do not condemn their actions.
On the 10th of April 2003, Hanif and Sharif flew to Damascus. But it was not a holiday. They were on a mission of martyrdom. The following day, after meeting their Hamas recruiter, both men left immediately for Israel via Jordan. From the Jordanian capital, Amman, Sharif sent an email home to his brother.
Salam, bro. I'm in Jordan. Had to change travel destination, but I will still continue my holiday elsewhere.
After crossing into Israel, the two would-be martyrs then went to Gaza, a Hamas stronghold and the birthplace of the Palestinian suicide bomber. In Gaza, the men stayed for 2 days at the home of a local driver.
You speak a little English, yes?
Yes.
And you spoke to them in English?
Only in English.
Did they speak Arabic at all?
No.
They didn't speak Arabic, only English.
But both Britons were fluent Arabic speakers.
There's no question about it. By the time these guys got to Gaza, they were on a secret mission. The fact that they weren't using Arabic with the driver, they wanted to give the appearance that they had no knowledge of this part of the world. They had no interest in the Arabic language. They were already establishing their cover, or as in the business we call it, cover for action.
Bring him come here, destroy all the farm here.
Yeah.
The Jews.
This is the place where Asif talks about in his will of the Israelis coming in with bulldozers and destroying the fields.
We went to a plantation the other day in a place called Beit Lahya. This man was there with his family planting stuff, and a tank had come in order to destroy everything. How does it feel? You spend a whole day with a scythe in the fields, and then some dude comes with his truck and runs over it. How would you feel? You'd feel like standing him up, shooting him and disgracing him like a dog because you've worked a whole day for that.
Hanif and Sharif's Damascus recruiter put them in contact with a notorious Hamas bomb maker, Yusuf Abu Hin, who had masterminded a series of suicide bombings in Israel. Sharif sent another email home.
After reaching our destination, Allah guided us to His friends, who were very happy to see us, and said that they needed our help very much.
Israel has sealed the Gaza Strip to prevent suicide attacks. The only way out was through the Israeli-controlled Erez crossing, one of the most heavily fortified frontiers in the world.
Could you let me pass, Robert Baer?
All Palestinians are closely scrutinized for potential suicide bombs by metal detectors, X-rays, and body scanners. As British citizens, Hanif and Sharif were less likely to draw suspicion. But how did they get the bombs through Erez? After the explosion in Tel Aviv, police recovered the remains of Sharif's unexploded bomb. Ingeniously, the device was disguised as a book. The high-powered explosive, PETN, came in a sheet form and could be cut to match the shape of any object. Under X-ray examination, the bomb would have looked like an ordinary book. Sharif's bomb weighed less than 2 kilos, but had the capacity to bring the building down and kill everyone. Sharif sent a final message to his wife.
Look after Khadija, Hamza, and Asiya. Bring them up well. We did not spend a long time together in this world, but I hope through Allah's mercy and your patience, we can spend eternity together.
On the 29th of April, Hanif and Sharif passed through the X-ray machines at Erez and went straight to Tel Aviv. They checked into a hostel, Hirakan 48.
Hi.
Yael Wanderer was on duty that day.
Tell me how they behaved.
Regular tourists came in with their bags on their back, asked the same question, where is it good to go out, things like that.
Were they suspicious at all?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
This is the room that they stayed in.
Did they leave anything in their room?
Yeah, everything. It was a lot of like new clothes and shaving stuff, aftershave stuff, things like that.
In room number 4, Hanif and Sharif assembled the bombs. Then, in their final private moments, shaved their chest and body hair, including their pubic hair, as a cleansing ritual before their entry to paradise. The hostel was just 200 yards from Mike's place. At 1 a.m., when the bar was full, Hanif tried to get past the security guard. He was stopped, pushed back, and exploded on the pavement outside. The plan was for Sharif to blow himself up amongst the rescuers and add to the casualty toll, a tactic used by other double bomber teams. But his bomb failed to detonate, and he fled into the night. 2 weeks later, Sharif's body was found in the bay. He had swum out to sea to escape his pursuers, or to commit suicide, an act of eternal damnation in Islam that would forever bar him from the gardens of paradise. Israel's revenge on Yusuf Abu Hin, the ingenious Hamas bombmaker, was swift. Within 48 hours, the Israeli army killed him and blew up his house. Hanif and Sharif's martyrdom tape was later recovered from the ruins by Hamas. Hanif and Sharif were the first British suicide bombers, but they were far from unique. The same sense of anger is shared by thousands of British Muslims. Muhammad Sharif is a cousin of Omar Khan Sharif, and both men grew up together in Derby.
My opinion on that is that he's a mujahid, he's a shaheed, and he's in the best of places right now. And I wish I was in his position. I really do, but I don't have it in me. Allah's not chosen me, Allah's not put it inside me to have it.
What would have to change in this country for this war, if you like, to calm down and stop?
Accept Allah's law. Simple, accept Allah's law. Everything will be smooth and simple.
And everybody has to accept Allah's law.
Allah created us all, so accept His law. End of story. Nothing more, nothing less.
You met Jack Straw, didn't you? What did you tell him?
Jack Straw, I told him I had the opportunity, I was close to, in fact I was closer than you and I. And I said to him, you are an enemy to me, you're an enemy to Islam, you're an enemy to Muslim. I despise you. I said to him that if I had the courage to blow myself up and blow you up, I would.
Hanif and Sharif had flown thousands of miles to kill themselves, but the next British bombers drove to their target, London, the capital of the land they were born into. The Mike's Place attack was a beginning, not an end to terror. Three of the July 7th bombers came from Beeston, a scrappy, rundown district in Leeds. All three were of British Asian origin. 30-year-old Mohammed Sadiq Khan, 22-year-old Shehzad Tanweer, and 18-year-old Hasib Hussein. The fourth bomber, Jermaine Lindsay, 19, was a black convert to Islam. I asked Arshad Chowdhury, a local businessman and chairman of an Asian community group, to show me around.
The first generation was very timid. They would accept acts of racialism and prejudice, and people would throw stones through windows. They'd call you a Paki or something like that. And there was a lot of that. But the next generation that has come in is not willing to take that lying down.
They rebelled.
They basically fought back.
The 7/7 bombers' leader was Mohammed Sadiq Khan. Outwardly, Khan's life was no different from thousands of other young men of British Asian origin. He had a job in a local school as a teaching assistant. He was married, and he was also a youth worker.
This is where Mohammed Sadiq Khan worked. There was a gym, too.
Yes, there's a gym here.
That's where he used to work.
And I think there's a bookshop here, which I think was also the interest of the police. There were some videos which depicted the injustice being committed against Muslims. And these are the kind of things that enraged young people.
So his motivation was maybe political?
Certainly political. And it was the Iraq War.
The murder of Muslims?
Yes, of course.
Khan was part of a loose circle of militant jihadists linked to that bookstore, the Iqra bookshop. The bookstore is now closed, and those who ran it deny that it was a center of extremism, saying it just sold Islamic literature. But in an upstairs back office, staff were able to churn out hundreds of CDs denouncing the war in Iraq and the moral corruption of the West. Non-Muslims were not allowed to enter the back of the shop except for Martin Gilbertson, a computer expert.
49A Bood Road was actually shared between what was called the Iqra store and the Leeds Community School. To access the Leeds Community School part of it, you'd have to come through the Iqra store and up to the counter where somebody would be behind it. If you'd have been invited in or you were a friend, you would be allowed to go back into the back room where you could access the internet through all these PCs.
Mm-hmm.
PC1 and PC2 were just generally used for internet access. PC3 was what you would call the server.
Do they have any Arabic sites?
PC4 was full of all Arabic files, mainly concerning Islam.
What's this up here, this video editing room?
Well, on the third floor, they had a PC built solely for video editing. You had a computer that was capable of producing 15-minute, 20-minute videos. Their main aim was to actually turn England into an Islamic state. That's what they really wanted. They wanted us to live under Islamic law, that everybody had to believe in Islam.
Gilbertson helped make the anti-Western CDs and fix the computers.
Most of it is concerning what the Muslim community perceive as Western attacks, not just in Israel, but in Chechnya, Pakistan, India, Afghanistan. They believed that Islam was at war with the West. And in the discussions, any weapon in warfare is legitimate. We even discussed about the Palestinians using suicide bombers.
For these Beeston extremists, 9/11 was a glorious triumph.
And they decided to have a party to celebrate the attack on America. They just drank pop, crisps. They were laughing and saying America deserves it. The fact that they found it amusing that so many people could die. But I was working there, and when you've got children to feed, you have to go through things.
Gilbertson first met the 7/7 ringleader Mohammed Sadiq Khan at the bookshop.
Tell me about Mohammed Sadiq Khan.
Khan would be in the computer store sometimes teaching people how to do the Learn Direct stuff they had there. But in the Iqra bookshop, he would actually be very anti-West. He would talk about the West being at war with Islam. He was around a lot in the area doing stuff. He was active in the community with the youth.
The Iqra bookshop shared the same premises at 49A Bude Road as the Leeds Community School, a registered charity established to work with the local disadvantaged young people. The school received over £115,000 in grants from the local Leeds City Council. But the exact relationship between the bookstore and the Leeds Community School was unclear. According to Gilbertson, both organizations shared the same premises and computers.
How were they connected?
If I was doing work in one place, I'd be working for the same people.
Nor is it possible to determine where the money went. Although funded by grants from Leeds City Council, neither Leeds Community School or the Iqra bookstore, both registered charities, ever filed any accounts, as required by law.
300 innocent men, women, and children.
Gilbertson says he went to the police in 2003 after becoming increasingly concerned about the violent, anti-Western material being distributed from Iqra.
I wasn't the only one. Quite a few other people had tipped the police off against this group and complained about them.
This crusade.
But after being told to post copies of the CDs to police headquarters, he heard nothing more.
It seemed that nothing was done about it.
The police deny receiving any material from Gilbertson in 2003. The influence of the extremists at Iqra spread beyond the bookshop to youth groups and gyms linked by overlapping membership or shared premises, and all funded by local government grants. For years, Khan ran a gym in the basement of the Hardy Street Mosque. The gym was also part of what was known as the Hardy Street Youth Center. In 2002, after a dispute with the mosque, Khan established another gym close by. It was quickly nicknamed the Al-Qaeda Gym. The gyms were a magnet for young Beeston Muslims keen to pump iron, and an ideal recruiting ground for suicide bombers. Khan's first recruit was Shehzad Tanweer, a fitness enthusiast and a regular face at the Iqra bookstore.
I first met Shehzad Tanweer at the Iqra bookshop. Mostly with Tanweer, he was quite quiet. I was talking to him one day, he found out that I thought I had cancer. And he's really nice about it. He said they'd pray for me.
But after joining the 7-7 cell, Tanweer developed a paranoid hatred for his homeland.
I tell all you British citizens to stop your support to your lying British government and to the so-called war on terror, and ask yourselves, why would thousands of men be ready to give their lives for the cause of Muslims?
Tanweer and Khan began practicing an ultra-Orthodox version of Islam known as Salafism, which derided many of the moderate beliefs of the mainstream Islamic tradition. Salafism is also the sect followed by Osama bin Laden, who promotes violent confrontation with the West.
Our so-called scholars today are content with their Toyotas and semi-detached houses. They seem to think their responsibilities lie in pleasing the kuffar instead of Allah. So they tell us ludicrous things like, you must obey the law of the land. SubhanAllah, how on earth did we conquer lands in the past if we were to obey by this law?
But Khan's net of recruitment was far wider than just a gym in Beeston. The youth groups he ran also organized outdoor pursuits that attracted young Muslims from neighboring towns like Dewsbury and Huddersfield. Hanif Rehman took part in some of the sporting programs organized by the 7-7 ringleader.
I knew Muhammad Siddiq Khan. He used to engage with the youth, he used to talk to them. He used to have various activities, for example, paintball, go-karting, camping, discussions, and matters of interest, really. When we used to have these activities, he used to sort of encourage everyone that, you must pray.
Within this wider circle, Khan recruited Jermaine Lindsay, of Jamaican origin, from Huddersfield, 20 miles away, who had converted to Islam when he was 16. Lindsay had a disruptive family background, but found solace in the absoluteness of his new faith. Lindsay was also a follower of the extreme Salafist Islamic cleric Sheikh al-Faisal, convicted of inciting the murder of Jews.
So if a kafir should kill a Muslim, you kill the kafir. A Muslim cannot be killed for the sake of a kafir. Because when the Muslim killed the kafir, he didn't really kill the kafir. The kafir was already dead. All the Muslim did was to finish him off.
The fourth bomber was the youngest, Hasib Hussein, just 18, from a neighboring district. When he was 16, he started working out to lose weight and crossed paths with Khan. Persuading anyone to kill themselves is not easy. You have to indoctrinate your followers to overcome every natural instinct. The group has to isolate itself from everyday life, incubate, and feed upon its own distorted view of the world. For Khan, Beeston, a mundane British suburb, was now the front line of a global war between Islam and the West.
Jihad is an obligation on every single one of us. Muslims all over the world, I strongly advise you to sacrifice this life for the hereafter. Save yourselves from the fire and torment. Come back to your religion and bring back your honor. You're not safe, not in the east or the west, and you will never have peace until Allah's Sharia reigns supreme over these lands.
Like the Mike's Place bombers, Khan and Tanweer were willing volunteers for death, but needed an organization to endorse their martyrdom. In November 2004, both Khan and Tanweer flew to Pakistan, ostensibly for a long family holiday. These pictures were taken by Pakistan Immigration at Karachi Airport on their arrival from London. Tanweer spent most of the time in his family village, Mudrake, near Faisalabad, with his uncle. His religious zeal and criticism of moderate Islam shocked the family.
He used to say his prayers 5 times a day. I used to skip every once in a while, but because he had time on his hands, he said them 5 times. We don't have any contact with religious groups. We believe in our peaceful saints and practices. We are simple Sunni Muslims.
But somewhere on the trip, Khan and Tanweer slipped away, and according to Pakistani intelligence, spent 3 days in the lawless frontier areas close to Afghanistan, meeting the operational head of Al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri.
أما شهزاد تنوير رحمه الله وكان دافع شهزاد للالتحاق بقواعد جماعة قاعدة الجهاد هو القهر الذي يمارسه البريطانيون في العراق وأفغانستان وفلسطين.
In an Al-Qaeda propaganda video, al-Zawahiri claims Tanweer received explosives training. Khan and Tanweer returned to Beeston in February 2005. They remained in contact with Al-Qaeda. 187 calls were made to Khan's mobile in the following months from what are known as public call offices in Pakistan. The last calls were made in the final hours before the 7/7 attack, but the identity of the caller, the Al-Qaeda controller, remains unknown. But apart from the phone calls, the 7/7 cell received little material outside help. Their explosives were made at home in Leeds. Maher Kalaji, a professor at the University of Wales, Bangor, is one of the world's leading explosives experts.
I understand that the July 7 bombers used HMTD. What is that explosive?
HMTD is a very unstable explosive. It's not difficult to manufacture. You can get most of the components in shops, surplus army stores, etc. But again, it's a very unstable material. It can go off or can explode due to shock, due to friction. So it makes you actually think that there's a sense of desperation for whoever's trying to make it there.
Let's say we walked out of here right now.
Yeah.
How long would it take us to buy this stuff? How many hours would it be before we would be ready to go into business, blowing things up?
If you know what you're doing, and if you're careful, it take you a couple of days to produce a reasonable quantity, yes.
So in 2 days, we'd be ready to go?
You could be ready to go in 2 days, yes.
HMTD has one fatal flaw. It has a limited shelf life, and it must be kept chilled. In May 2005, the bombers rented a Leeds flat, 18 Alexandra Grove, as a bomb factory and installed an industrial-sized fridge to keep their bombs cool. The clock was now ticking down to the July 7th attacks. After their return from Pakistan in February 2005, both Khan and Tanweer gave up their jobs to devote themselves to the bomb plot. When you manufacture HMTD, it gives off poisonous vapors. The bombers had to keep the windows open. The fumes killed plants outside and bleached Tanweer's hair and eyebrows. The bombers were extremely disciplined. Information was tightly held. For a terrorist cell, the key to success is internal loyalty to the group or to their leader. The 7-7 cell never shared their secrets or their doubts with their wives, parents, or any outsider. A few days before the attack, the youngest bomber, Hasib Hussein, had a driving lesson with his father. The bombers' psychological isolation made them perfect killing machines. In the cult of the suicide bomber, every would-be martyr has his moment. His will, his declaration for the coming slaughter, weapons, flags, his last testament. But in the 7-7 bombers, we don't see any of this. It's devoid of all these symbols. It looks homegrown to me.
To the non-Muslims of Britain, you may wonder what you have done to deserve this.
Until we feel security, you will be our targets.
Their death wills were almost certainly filmed in the bomb factory in Alexandra Grove, a few days before their deaths. On June 28, 3 of the bombers, Khan, Tanweer, and Lindsay, came to London on a reconnaissance mission. The route and timings were almost identical to the day of the 7th of July attack. The bombers were measuring out the human traffic, regardless of creed, color, or religion, of those they intended to kill. But why kill yourself? Why not just leave bombs on the tubes and get off before they explode? In the cult of the suicide bomber, the martyr must also give his own life as an act of religious sacrifice.
It's very clear, brothers and sisters, that the path of jihad and the desire for martyrdom was deeply embedded in the Holy Prophets. By presenting ourselves for this work, we're guaranteeing ourselves paradise.
For Khan, his own martyrdom would wipe out the moral wrong of killing civilians on the tube. To try and understand Khan's religious justifications, I went to see Dr. Azam Tamimi, an Islamic academic close to the Hamas leadership. How much do you think played a part, the idea of paradise for these 4 young men?
Oh, it's very important. That's the difference between suicide and martyrdom. If you commit suicide in Islam, you end up in hell. But if you offer yourself in martyrdom, you end up in paradise.
Are there more of them out there? In London?
I wouldn't rule out the possibility. All you need is a sympathetic individual who is willing to accept the notion of recognizing a noble cause and then willing to sacrifice for it. And Al-Qaeda doesn't have to send people from abroad. Such people can be recruited anywhere in the world, so long as there is crisis, so long as there is tension.
In the early hours of July 7th, Khan, Tanweer, and Hussein, after loading the bombs into a hire car, left Leeds and traveled south to Luton, where they met the fourth bomber, Lindsay, at the railway station. All four then took the train to London. At 0826, the bombers were entering King's Cross Station, heading for the Underground. Khan headed west on the Circle Line, Tanweer east, and Lindsay took the Piccadilly Line south. Hussein's device probably failed, and at 0900, he was caught on CCTV buying a new battery at King's Cross Station. He tried to call his three fellow bombers, but they had already killed themselves. At 0947, on the number 30 bus, he joined his fellow bombers in paradise. 52 innocent people died and hundreds were injured. Where did the 7-7 bombers come from? They came from within. Poisoned by the hateful ideology emanating from the Iqra bookstore, angered by Britain's foreign policy, indoctrinated by Khan, each bomber was a ready volunteer for martyrdom. Like the recipe for their explosives, the cult of the suicide bomber had downloaded itself into the minds of these young British Muslims from Beeston. But they could have come from anywhere. A few months after the bombings, Shehzad Tanweer's family took what remained of his body to Pakistan. But Hasib Hussein's father buried his son in Hasib's birthplace, Leeds. It was the first funeral on British soil of a homegrown suicide bomber. I know it won't be the last.